I was a Google product manager for 4 years, and the thing that surprised me wasn't the work, the pace, or even the people. It was how completely different the actual job was from everything I thought I knew going in. I had read the job description 10 times. I knew every bullet point, and then I got inside and realized that document barely scratches the surface of what the job actually is. Because the difference between a product manager making 300K and one making 600K at Google, same company, with basically the same title, it rarely comes down to what's in the job description. And after coaching over 1,000 product managers, I can tell you exactly what it comes down to. And that's what this video is all about. Let's dig into it. So let's start with what the job description tells you. You'll pull up a Google product management listing and you'll see words like strategy, vision, roadmap, cross-functional collaboration. Sounds straightforward, right? Here's the thing. Those words mean actually something completely different once you're inside. Most product managers prepare for the outputs of the role. They think the job is about writing PRDs, building roadmaps, launching features, and yeah, those things exist and they matter. But the actual job, it's about navigating ambiguity. That is no right answer every single day. Let me give you a real example. When I joined Google, I thought my job was to come in, understand the product, figure out the right thing to build, and then work with engineering to design and ship it. Pretty standard PM stuff. That's what the job description says. But within my first few weeks, I realized something. The hard part was never figuring out what to build. The hard part was getting everyone aligned on why we should build it. Look, there are brilliant engineers with their own opinions. There are other product managers with competing priorities. There are other directors and VPs with completely different views on what matters. And none of them reported to me. None of them had to listen to me. That's when it hit me. At Google, the real currency isn't execution, it's influence. You're constantly selling your ideas upward to leadership, sideways to peer PMs and partner teams and engineers and designers who don't report to you. And when you are managing other PMs, downward to them. And none of these people have to say yes just because you're the product manager. The job description says cross-functional collaboration. What that actually means is you walk into a room where everyone could be considered smarter than you in their domain, and everyone has a different opinion. And your job is to get them all rowing in the same direction without formal authority. That's completely different skill than writing a PRD. And this is where most product managers who are preparing for Google get it wrong. They're studying frameworks, memorizing circles and RISE and whatever else. And those things are fine for the interview. But once you're inside, the game changes entirely. So if you're preparing for a Google product management role right now, or for any large company for that matter, stop preparing for the job description. Start preparing for the unwritten rules, because that's what the job actually tests you every single day. So let's talk about those unwritten rules. Now, there are things every Google PM knows that nobody writes down anywhere. You won't find those in job description or any prep code. And these are the kind of things that separate Google L4, L5, and L6. Or put another way, 300K comp to a 600K comp. Let me walk you through them. Unwritten rule number 1. Your job is never to have the right answer. This one messes people up, especially high performers, because they spent their entire career being the person with the answers. That's how you got into most of the jobs in the first place. But once you're in a role like this, the game flips. Your job is to create the conditions where the right answer can emerge from the team around you. That means asking better questions instead of providing solutions. That means creating space for engineers to push back on your assumptions. That means facilitating the debate instead of trying to win the debate. That means building out principles that the team can use to get to those answers. I see this pattern constantly in my coaching. Product managers might come to me and say, look, I keep getting feedback that I need to be more strategic. When I dig into what's happening, it's almost always the same thing. They're showing up to meetings with the answer already decided and trying to convince everyone. They're presenting instead of facilitating. And leadership reads that as senior PM behavior, not as a leader behavior. The L6 PM, the 600K PM walks into a room and says, here's what I'm seeing. Here's the tension. What am I missing? The 300K PM walks in and says, here's what we should do. Same meeting, but completely different signal. The first one, the accomplished PM knows that they might not know a lot of things and they're open to input, but they have the principle and ways of driving decision. They know what works for them and the company and the team, and they bring people along to get to an answer that everyone can get behind. Unwritten rule number 2. The higher you go, the less your output matters and the more your framing matters. This is one that changes everything for me. At the individual contributor level, your output matters. Ship the feature, hit the metrics, write the PRD, write the outcomes, write the spec, great. But as you move up, the game shifts from output to framing. How you position a problem determines how many resources you get, how much attention you get, how much trust leadership places in you. Two PMs can be working on the same problem. One frames it as we need to fix onboarding flow. The other frames it as we're losing 15% of new users in the first 48 hours. That could represent $30 million in annual revenue over the long term. Same problem, but the second PM just got executive attention, a bigger team, and a path to promotion. Framing is a skill nobody teaches you. And it's a skill that determines your trajectory more than anything else at Google, especially because we're always asked to think big at Google, think long term. I had a coaching client. Let's call her Anita, okay? She was a senior PM at a large tech company doing incredible work, shipped constantly, hit OKRs, but she kept getting passed over for promotion to director. When we dug in, the issue was clear. She was framing her work in terms of what she had built, shipping on time, feature launches, improvements. We shifted her framing to be about business impact and strategic outcomes. Now, that means in the next promotion cycle, she got a compensation jump of about 80K if I remember right. Same work, different framing, which led me to unwritten rule number 3. Google rewards people who make their impact visible. Now, before you roll your eyes, hear me out. This isn't about being political. This isn't about self-promotion or playing games. This is about strategic communication. Here's the reality. Your manager doesn't see 90% of what you do. Your skip level manager sees maybe 5%. And the people who decide your level, the promotion committee, they see a packet. That's it. If your leadership doesn't know what you're driving, it just doesn't exist. I don't care how good the work is. I don't care how much impact you've had. If the right people don't understand it, you don't get credit for it. The best Google PMs I've seen, they do this as part of the job. They send crisp updates. They frame their wins in terms that leadership cares about. They build narratives around their work that make the impact obvious. Not in a look at me way, but in a here's what it means for the business. Another client, let's call him David. He was a PM at a similar top tech company doing transformative work. A lot of work around core infrastructure, system reliability, reducing cost. But every time he talked about it, it was all about the latest technology. I know Google's supposed to be run by engineers, but really, that meant people were not understanding the impact. They weren't going to promote him on technology. We worked on the strategic communication. We taught him how to lead with business outcomes, not technical output. Now, I reduced infrastructure costs by so much annually was very different. I enabled all these capabilities for these 7 other teams that would eventually lead to so much outcome, even better. Same work. One gives you a pat on the back, maybe exceeds or meets expectation. The other one gets you to strongly exceeds and gets you promoted. The product manager who understands these unwritten rules don't just perform better. They get pulled into bigger opportunities. Very important. They get invited to higher stakes decisions. They get promoted faster because they're operating on the level that Google is actually evaluating them, not the level that the job description. Look, if any of this is resonating and you're wondering why you're not at the level you're capable of, my team runs free strategy sessions where we map out exactly what's holding you back. Book a session with us. The link is in the description. Now you understand the gap. The question is, what is this gap actually costing you? And the answer is, over your career, hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably millions of dollars. That's the cost. Most product managers spend their entire career optimizing for the wrong things because nobody ever showed them what the job actually rewards. They're perfecting their PRDs, they're obsessing over sprint planning, they're making sure every feature ships on time. And look, you have to do those things matter. But they're table stakes. They are the L4 version or the 300K version of the job. The compensation gap at Google between levels isn't just about tenure or performance reviews. It's about whether Google perceives you as operating at the next level. And that perception is built on the unwritten rules that I just shared. Influence, framing, visibility, not how many features you shipped. Let me paint the picture for you. 2 product managers, identical backgrounds, similar years of experience, similar title. One gets a L4 role, the other one gets a L6 role. What's the difference? Again, not technical skill. Almost never about work ethic. It's almost always how they show up in the unwritten parts of the job. The L6 PM frames problems at the business level. The L4 PM frames them at the feature level. The L6 PM makes their impact visible to decision maker. The L4 PM assumes their work speaks for themselves. The L6 PM influences without authority and gets team aligned. L4 PM executes what they're told and wonders Why don't they get broader influence? Why don't they get broader visibility? Here's a painful part. Product managers who are great at the job description version of the role get comfortable. They execute well. They ship features, they hit their OKRs, they get positive feedback. Great job, keep it up. But they never crack the next level because they're playing the wrong game entirely. They're winning at checkers while everyone above is playing chess. I see it all the time. Let's talk about one client. Let's call him James. He came to me after being at the same level for 3 years. Strong performer, consistently met expectations but no promotion. And when I asked him what he was doing to position himself for the next level, he listed all the outputs. But what it meant, what it was in terms of outcomes, that wasn't there. I told him that, hey, that's a job description version of your role. Now tell me about the influence you've built. Tell me how you framed your work for leadership. Tell me what your skip level manager thinks you're driving. Silence. That was the moment it clicked for him. He wasn't failing at his job. He was succeeding at the wrong version of it. We spent the next 3 months shifting how he operated. Not what he did, but how he showed up, how he communicated, how he framed, how he made his impact visible. Within 6 months, he got his promotion and a compensation increase that was more than double of what he thought possible. Because once you understand what a Google, a Meta, a Amazon is actually measuring you on, you can start positioning yourself for it. And by the way, these rules apply to Apple, they apply to Stripe, Coinbase, anywhere where the PM role is ambiguous enough that influence matters more than authority. Whether you're trying to get into Google, level up inside Google, or take these principles to every company, the game is the same. So let me bring it all together. Job description, it's the surface. It describes the output. The PRD is the roadmap, the feature launches, but it doesn't describe the operating system underneath. And the operating system is what actually determines your level and your comp. The real Google job is about 3 things. Influence without authority, getting people aligned when nobody reports to you. Strategic framing, positioning problems in a way that commands resources, attention, and trust, and making your impact visible to the people who decide your level. Here's a belief shift I want you to walk away with. Stop asking, am I doing the PM job well? And start asking, do the right people understand the value I'm creating? Because at Google and every company like it, perception and reality have to match. You can't just do great work. You have to make sure the right people know about the great work. The product managers who win at Google aren't the ones who are prepared for the hardest for the job description. They're the ones who figured out the unwritten rules fastest. And now you know what those rules are. Now, before you go, if today's video showed you that you've been preparing for the wrong version of this job, the fastest way to fix that is to get on a call with my team so we can help you understand for your next role, where exactly are you, how you're not even framing things for your next role, and how do you get on a specific path to get to that next level. Hundreds of product managers have made this shift and completely changed their compensation as a result. Link to book that free session is in the description. Grab it before the spots are gone, and then watch this next video where I walk you through exactly what I would do if I was searching for an AI product management role in 2026. See you there.